viewers, you're welcome to another episode of The N.O.W Show, the network for overcomers and winners. I want to thank you for allowing us into your space again and again, week in, week out. Because without you, we won't be here. Thank you so much. So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about the missing years. Why it's called the missing years? You will hear in a minute. And my guest today is my friend, my brother, my aburo.
Very important.
That's what we call them in the West, my aburo. Anyway, Mr. Oludare Akinlaja.
Thank you.
So, he will be taking us through his story.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Auntie. Like she said, my name is Oludare Akinlaja, managing partner, Oludare Akinlaja Research and Development Company. A consultant, entrepreneur, trainer. But up till that point, I think that's what this session is going to talk about. Those gaps in between that have built me up to the person I am today, and the in-betweens. I was born to a wonderful mom. I tell people that's why I don't know why people end up maybe disrespecting mothers or getting upset with mothers. I don't know where it comes from.
You need to emphasize that.
I don't know where that thinking comes from because I think that my mother was the insulator from the pressures of certain mentality that I would have had growing up. So I was born.
That's what mothers do.
Yeah, that's what mothers do, and they do,
Yes.
and do it. So this is a prayer for all mothers who do it well. God bless you.
Thank you. Amen. I say amen
Yes.
for all the mothers.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was born. It was more or less like a single mother birth. Why I'll say that is because my grandfather never allowed my mother to marry my father for reasons best known to him. He's late now, so we can't ask him. But of course, from stories of not being comfortable with the idea of my father and all that pressure point. So my mom had to manage raising a boy in a family setting that did not necessarily have my father, but my stepfather, and I did not know.
Pause.
Yeah.
Your mother married.
Yeah, she married. She married.
Okay.
Me, yes.
Because she didn't marry your father.
Yes.
She had you.
Yes.
You can't remember not having your father there.
No.
Okay. So what you can remember is in the home where dad was there.
That was there.
And dad was stepdad.
Yes. So because it happened at a very young age. Okay. Maybe I must have maybe a year or 2 years. Can't remember. And in fairness to my stepfather, I tell everybody that only a man who is strong would have done that effortlessly.
Except a woman with a child.
I did not have the singular. Is there a word like I didn't have any single misconception as to whether he was.
So he was always dad.
He was always dad.
And a fantastic dad.
Always. In fact, to show you how perfect it was, I still have pictures of when I was doing my 1-year-old birthday and he was there.
Wow.
Standing beside me as I took pictures.
Wow.
You know, so it was just perfect. You know, I didn't believe that I didn't have a father who was in there.
So at what point did you now know that stepdad was not dad?
It will shock people. It was 2011.
What? At what age?
In 2011, I was 25. So my mother's when first she told me, she was always telling me that her friends
she never told you.
I did not have this thing. She would always tell me that her friends would always tell her, tell this boy before he gets married. Now, this is the first time I'm publicly talking about this. I've not spoken about this on anywhere on any platform.
And thank you so much for sharing this with us.
Interestingly, I was bearing the surname of my father, of my stepfather. So I won't even have suspected because I was bearing my stepfather's surname. In fact, people used to think I was from Rivers State because my stepfather is from Rivers.
Meanwhile, you're Yoruba.
I'm from Ogun State, yes, because my father is Ogun. So I was bearing the surname, I was bearing everything, and I couldn't suspect. In fact, I could hear
those reverse tendencies are still there. Look at you.
So when people
don't mind me, that's just a distraction.
It's so funny that when people hear me, they say you are raised by a South person because the way I speak the pidgin, everything it's South. In fact, that's what I was going to say. I could hear the language, but I could hear Ijebu.
Wow.
I can if they speak, because language is equal. If they speak it, I can hear. That's to show you how young I was when I entered into that
environment.
Yeah, so it was just in that environment. In 2011, I'm sure they must have been telling my mom, this boy, you are not telling this thing. If he marries with another surname, it will be difficult to change at that point too. So I think it was a Tuesday morning. I can't remember now. Tuesday morning, I used to stay in VGC with some family friends, and I just saw my phone ring. And when my mother calls me at 8 o'clock in the morning,
you know that
it's either to complain about something or to talk about something. So I get this phone call. I say, hello. He said, I want to tell you something. You know what she did? Mothers are beautiful. 2 weeks before then, or I think 4 months before then, she had prepared me for the news.
Wow. How?
So at that time, I had just written a book. It was Battle for True Identity. Strangely, I wrote a book called Battle for True Identity.
Are you kidding me?
I had no inclination while I was writing the book. I wrote it. My first ever book in my life was titled Battle for True Identity. Who am I?
How awesome God is.
That was the time. I had no idea why I wrote that book. Now, apparently, my dad had told my dad I wrote a book, and she had told my dad the title of the book. So my dad said, you see, this child is fighting. There's something struggling inside this boy. Tell this boy. Because, in fairness, my father respects mom so much that he didn't want to cross certain lines.
Any lines.
My father was in the police force. He was at top level in the police force. So it just one day, they will find out who I am. But he made sure he didn't cross those boundaries without my mother's
agreement,
knowledge. So 4 months before then, she said, there's somebody I want to introduce you to. His name is Chief Abami. He likes to support young. That's my father she's talking to me about. He likes to help young people to. So I'm sure he will invest in this your project and the rest. So I called my father. I was talking to my father. I thought it was. So
it was an investor, somebody who was going to be a mentor.
Yeah. So the first time I spoke to him, that was the inclination I had. It was hello sir. Oh, Mr. And he played the part perfectly.
You're joking.
Oh, he played the perfect. I think there was no suspicion about anything. Okay. So then, one day she calls me. I think 3 months after, she calls me and says, "I want to tell you something."
So all this time, you had only spoken to him.
Yeah.
You hadn't met him.
No, I hadn't met him.
Okay.
I was just talking to him on the phone because then he was in Jos. He had just been moved to Jos training school in Jos. So there was no way I could quickly dash in or dash out to quickly see.
Okay.
So we. Then she calls and says, there's someone to tell you. I'm like, oh, mommy, what again? I call her Yadari. So I say, Yadari, what happened again this morning? Do you want to complain to me about somebody? And I says, no. That the person you have been calling Chief is actually your daddy. You know when they say the phone is light on your... I knew I was holding a phone, but I couldn't tell. She was calling my name. There, are you there? I said, yes. I said, see what she said again.
She told you on the phone.
Yeah, because she couldn't look. There is I don't believe that there is a wicked person on earth. There are just people who have learned not to listen to their conscience and their inner yearnings. Every single person is not bold enough to have to face either their mistakes or, because it takes a lot to have to tell. You mean you waited all these years to have to tell me that? And she said, I'll call you later to tell you more. So she cut. I don't know what she was doing, whether she wanted to cry.
So of course, definitely I can tell that she must have gone.
But I don't,
because it's like your world comes crashing around you.
It was. I was like, you say what? So she calls back. Then we spoke for a longer time. Then she begins to tell me about how my grandfather did not support the thoughts.
I need to take you back to that moment when she told you, and it sank in. What were your emotions? What did you feel?
I think what helped me over a period was because from the age of 17, I had always been kind of independent. So I registered my first company at 17. I did my first conference at 18. So there was some form of independence already. So there was some form of self-taught in my head. So I had developed this cushion to life, kind of. So what hit me was not tears at that moment. What hit me was, are you joking? No, you must be joking. It was mixtures of many things. And because I had not seen him, maybe because I had not seen him then, I didn't have the complete emotion. So maybe if he was there and they were both present when they broke the news, maybe the emotions would have been different. Totally different. But then it was just a phone call. I was like, okay, I've not even seen the person, I've only heard his voice. So it was just a form. It was shock. It was, are you joking? Or are you serious? Are you? It was like when you watch home videos and you see such scenes in home videos, it looks to you like, oh, it can never happen to you. It was like it was playing right before my eyes. And then I was living in a house that had many young boys and who used to. So I broke the news to them. They said I was joking. It was.
It's like of course, definitely to be like an unbelievable tale.
It was unbelievable. So 2 weeks after, my father says, "Oh, I'm coming to Lagos. You come and meet me, Lagos Airport."
Chief.
The chief is coming to Lagos. He's coming to Lagos.
The man you've always called chief. Oh my wow.
You come and meet me in Lagos Airport Hotel. I'm coming to Lagos. So I went to meet him there. He said, come to room 3. Call the room number. I knocked. As my father opened, when they say face answers to face.
Wow. So you bear a striking resemblance.
As my father opened the door, I said, they didn't have to convince me. This is my father. The charisma, you know this thing people talk about, genes.
Yes, genes and blood.
It's powerful.
Yes.
It's powerful. Very powerful. I'll tell you something very funny. As I was growing up, at certain points in my life, I felt disconnected, even in that and you see, which is why sometimes it's always.
I guess that's why you became independent on time.
Yes.
It was as a result of that.
I felt that there was this disjoint. You know that you're part of a family. At the same time, you feel there's a part of you you're not connecting.
Because 17 is young to be independent.
Oh, I was. I'd always left. So there was this detachment. So that's why you can pretend to a child for long, but there's always that thing missing they're looking for.
Yes.
So that was what happened. So as soon as I saw him, I was like, whoa. And he had called some of his friends. Apparently, this life is beautiful. Apparently, some of his friends have been collecting money from him, saying they will talk to my mom so they can meet me. Oh yeah, people have been collecting millions, thousands. I mean, just able to talk to him, to look for his son.
Because he wanted his son. He wanted to see his son.
My father is a very, you see, my father might not see his wives or his wife because he remarried 2.
Of course.
I don't see his
because
wife.
No, he didn't remarry. He married.
He had to marry
because he never married your mom.
Yes. So they married, and and I have 2 siblings from my father. I have 2 siblings from my mother. I'm the middleman that brings two siblings together.
Wow.
And so people have been collecting money and just trying to,
Can you imagine when they say the heart of man is desperately
I'm telling you, and my father being the person.
Did they make any attempt at all?
Whether they did,
they made the attempt, and your mom, of course, wouldn't hear
whether
it.
They
we
did,
women,
when
we take a stand,
yes, no, but she some people reached out, but I don't think she felt it was okay yet. And looking back now, you now know why certain things happen around you, the way some people were reacting to you, the way,
ways.
yes, the way your mom was making sure she used you as a testimony point because they told her, she will be more,
Out of wedlock.
So all that. So looking back now, when you're much older, you see certain things happen in your life and the battles your mom had to fight to navigate through certain things. And you're like, oh, that's why this happened, that happened. And so I entered the room and I see conference of friends already waiting. It was celebration day that day.
Wow.
Oh, it was celebration day.
Wow.
So this one. Wow. There was so, and I could see his eyes. My father, when he saw me, he felt irresponsible. And my father is not that wired. My father, he doesn't joke with his children. Oh, no, he doesn't play. He doesn't.
So I can imagine how heart-wrenching those years must have been for him. Because, it's one thing not to know you have a child.
He wanted to then know.
To know.
Then not to be able to.
And not be able to connect and reach that child.
Every single person he met, he always told, like, the short years I spent with him, every single person to say, you remember mine, you remember mine, you remember mine. So he had always spoken about to me. I was like, I have this, I have his son somewhere, and for an African man.
So those years, himself and your mom never communicated.
I'm not sure they did.
Okay.
I'm not sure they did because my mother was completely adamant. For my mom, it was different emotions. I can't tell. Maybe if she comes on the Now Show.
We would love to hear your mom's part
to
of
cover
it.
the Now
Please,
Show.
please, if you can do that, I would love to talk to her.
But I never can tell what happened to because we deal with things differently.
Yes.
What my grandfather saw, I don't know. So I can't speak for them. But like I will always say, we need to be careful because our decisions will ultimately affect a child or affect people.
Affect lives.
Yeah, so
because I'm sure even for your mom, it's affected her for some time.
Some form of
Definitely.
and
it couldn't have been an easy time for her.
And my father and the African man with your first child is a boy.
Yes.
My first son. So
can you imagine?
there was so much. His first child from my stepmom is now a girl.
Wow.
So you can see the but I have a son. All that. And So it was beautiful. So I met him, we gisted, we talked. He didn't spend so much time.
And you bonded immediately.
When I saw my father, there's this thing they say in South.
Because for some children, when a father is not there, there's a disconnect. They're never able to connect with that father. But I think it happens with children who maybe grew up with the father and the parents separated. And maybe, for some reason, the man decides not to be in the children's life. So the children take that against the man. But here you were with a man that you had never even lived with.
And I knew it was not his fault.
And it was not his fault.
If it would have been a different case if you didn't look for me.
Yes.
Or if you didn't, I knew it was not his fault. So the reception was easier for me. It was not his fault.
Yes.
If he had, my mom would be going to say, no, I don't want it to. And she kept it.
But truly, that is because you also are somebody who is understanding. And because even at that,
some children hold it against.
Some children will still hold it against the man. Why didn't you force your way to
True.
find me? Why didn't you?
You can't.
We always, people that want to make excuses.
You can't really blame children, and I'll tell you why. Sometimes you want to think that maybe you will have had better opportunities at life if he was there.
Yes.
Maybe you would not have had to fight through all this if he was there. And
in your own case, that was what happened.
And for me, it even made it worse because I didn't now spend a lot of time with him. The man died.
Because Chief had so much money that
it wasn't even about the money. It was also about my father is present. My father can move mountains for his children. It's not just money.
Yes.
If you tell my father...
So he had it all.
If you tell my father you want to go and study in America and you explain to him why.
He will get it done.
My father will move mountains. If it means to sell a house.
Wow.
That's how he was. That's why he was wired. Wow. So that's what I missed. Not necessarily... I missed the fact that there was somebody who could want
make
to...
things easier for you.
He will make it work. My father was like that. He was designed to work. And for me, it was even harder because I only spent 4 years with him. Closely. before he died in 2015. In fact, that's what pains me the most.
Wow.
The pre-2011 did not ache me as much as the 2015 when he passed. Because
and that's when those 25 missing years would have meant so much.
So much.
Would have been so painful.
That's when he kicked
because it's like, I only got 4 years with this man.
4 years with my, so he, so that's, so when I talk to people about it.
But did you make the best of every day of those 4 years?
I did, I tried. And I explain what I mean I tried. For half of those, my father, the kind of job they do. Okay. My father was in Just today, was in Abuja tomorrow. And my father never really worked in the Southwest. All his times at work. He was always out of South. No, he was even in the South for a period. Okay. Went to Just training school for a period. So he was never really in the Southwest. So even those 4 years, the work distance even affected. There was even a time I had to go and meet him in Just. I was in Just for a period of time. Okay. And it was difficult for that. So what also aches me was that I didn't even have that opportunity to even enjoy the post-period in 2015. When I tell people about the story, what the 25 years didn't pay me as much as the 4 years paid.
I need to say, I'm so sorry about the fact that, yes, it's not something that, but nobody wants to miss out so much on life.
Yeah.
Because it's like missing out so much on life.
It's
especially given that you had a fantastic relationship.
Yeah.
Knowing very well what could have been.
What would have that world would have been questioned is and
So let me ask you, Dari, it's really having been in this. For a woman who finds herself in a situation where she's without a husband and she wants to remarry. Of course, there are children involved.
Yeah.
About what ages do you think those children should be so that those their consequences yes, they don't creep up?
I believe
maybe I'm being selfish here.
No. Mothers so I tell people, mothers who raise children are powerful people. The emotions involved in raising children are powerful people. And because of motherhood, sometimes children will be attached to you. So you mean you won't be having your time again? You'll be coming to come and see us again. You mean you'll just be with your husband? No. So, but if you raise those children to be independent, it's deliberately raising them to be independent because you don't see yourself being unmarried for so long.
Okay.
I think the challenge is sometimes the mothers raise the children too close to them.
They become attached.
So when they become attached to you, you then want the independence later on. You might have a problem. I think it's always safer to raise them independent. Like for me now, I literally was raised like that. I was 16, my first company at 17. I was already, so you need to do that. That's the best way you can.
Are your other siblings like that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was.
Oh, you have
a deliberate thing in that home.
My last brother went to boarding house at about 8 or 9. So. So each person is raised to be independent. I think that's the only way my mother would have done it and be at peace to do it. Because you have to deliberately raise them to be independent. Yeah. Because that emotion of your father, this is the only thing I've got to, it has its long-term consequences. Raise them to be independent. That way, when you now want to say, Mom, I want to travel around the world now. They're like, oh, Mommy, why not? We're good. I've not seen my mother this way. I've seen her once this year. Before COVID. Sometimes she come and say, you don't want to call me Abi? Because she...
I think we mothers are like that. We want to hear your voice constantly and all that. So even if we don't get to see you, at least call.
No, we were trying.
I called you. You didn't pick up your phone. You didn't return my call.
She's like, you have not spoken to me. I said, we just spoke on Sunday. I said, it's Sunday, not 4 days ago.
Sunday. And today is
Wednesday.
I know.
But she did it deliberately where she raised us to be independent children.
I wouldn't be doing justice to this if I didn't ask you this question.
Yes.
And I'm praying and hoping that you will answer me.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know whether you're the right person to ask or do you think this missing years has had any effect on your marriage? In any way?
I think the reason why it did not do as much damage was because I learned early the place of looking for father figures to replace certain things. Maybe before I got married, there was a window I was scared of. I hope my marriage will not be like this. Because you're saying, hope it. Let me tell you how bad it was. Once I'm talking to a girl and I feel her family is having reservations, I automatically remember, my grandfather was having challenges with my father. Is he not playing out again? So you are making scenarios that don't exist. Then you now begin to be like a spiritual. Affliction must not rise a second time. Hope it's not coming again. So all that. But what helped me was that I had people who, from my pastors to mentors to the university I ended up going to. So I had people who I could look at and say, you know what, this is what it means to be a man. This is what it means to be a man. This is what it means not to be a man. This is what it means to manage a home, manage this. And I used loads of reading, of study, because like I said, because of independence.
Yes.
So I had to replace those years with people who I felt, these people I like. So, and I used to ask questions a lot. So I'll go to Reverend Victor Adeyemi, I'll sit him down and ask him, Daddy, how do you tell me? Oh, no, do this. I went to Covenant, very close up with the bishop. You say, no, this is. So I always had people who I was, once you inspire me, I emulate you. Once I pick up something that I see you are inspirational about, I become attached to you.
Wow.
Wow. So I defend what inspires me. I defend what inspires. So I had people who are there to fill those gaps. I think that's what, because you can't avoid it happening. We'll talk about it today. Somebody else will still not have opportunity to access his father in 10 years time or 5 years
it's
time.
True. You're so right.
What we can give as practical solutions is always make sure you have people who will serve as support systems. For instance, the house I stayed in VGC, I've never met the family before. But when my friend went to KC together, he just took me to his family home one time and they liked me and I stayed there.
Wow.
For close to 4 years, I was living in that place.
Wow. Wow.
So if you don't have support systems like that, for people who will model, who will look up to, so I think it's the support system. You must always make sure you find out a solid support system, because people will always find support systems, either for good or for bad.
And that's why we do shows like this, so that other people who may be experiencing such things and don't have answers to their questions can somewhat get some answers.
Yes, ma'am.
For things they've been searching for.
Yes.
Because truly and honestly, the human mind, we keep searching and asking questions.
Yes.
Especially when we're in certain conditions that we know are not perfect conditions. Let me put it that way.
Yes, I agree.
Harry, I must really thank you for doing this with us and sharing your story with us, because it takes a lot.
I should write a book someday.
You should, because a lot of people, you are going to be answering questions for a lot of people, because these things do happen.
Yes.
They are happening.
And
they will keep happening.
They will keep happening, yes.
So it's good to always be guided. And also to be educated so that you know the things to do.
I agree, man.
I can't believe that this is coming to an end. I wish we could go on and on and on.
Sure.
But, Dari, we have something we do on the Now Show, which we call the final word.
Yes.
Which is a takeout, something you want to leave our audience with, so that even if they don't remember everything about our conversation, they'll remember this thing that Dari said, which may be a nugget for them, a nugget of survival. Your final word.
I think it's important for you to understand that all things happen for a reason. And in life, you must be able to give correct interpretation. Because what normally puts us under pressure is that we don't give the correct interpretation to a happening. And when you correctly interpret, you will receive the right emotion behind it. Once you get the right emotion, proper interpretation, when people are saying, why are you not behaving like this? They see you smile and wonder, is everything okay? The difference is that you have received that information, interpreted it differently, and it has given you a different sort of emotion, because that's the only way you can navigate through the complex terrains we call life.
Thank you, Dari.
You're welcome.
God bless you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Keep you.
Amen.
And we hope that you come back again to share your story with us.
I'm always available.
Because I'm sure people are going to ask questions, and we might be doing another show from this.
We're always available for you.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
once again, Dari, I want to thank you for coming on the Now
Thank you
Show.
very much.
God bless you.
Amen.
Bless you. Bless you.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.